Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are doing a discussion over Galactic Cruise, which I think this came out in 2024, unfortunately, because if it was a 2025 game, it would definitely be in the running, because, long story short, I think this game is phenomenal. And that's mainly for a lot of reasons. One, because I had originally backed this on Kickstarter, but like I kept putting it off, and I was like I was waffling on it, mainly because I have kind of steered clear of these kinds of games, these heavier Euro games. Not because I think they're bad by any means, but it's more of like I just don't want to put forth the mental capacity to end up playing them. And I think that's a lot to do with having done almost every Vita Lasarda game, which are still to me the top of the top of elegant design while being extremely complex. And just by looking at this board, I was like, that looks like it's pretty, it's pretty involved. So I ended up just not getting it. But then I think we just kept hearing like really good things of a lot of people really, really liking it. And I'm like, all right, I'll buy it. Why the hell not? And I think this game is insanely good. So, with that being said, Brad, what do you think of Galactic Cruise?
I have not played any Lacerda games, but I have gotten into bigger Euros and stuff, over the last couple of years and stuff. And this one, I never really had any interest in backing when it was out and stuff. The theme just seemed kind of odd.
I think the theme's great.
Well, it is now. Once you play it,
yeah,
you kind of see where it goes. But
right.
When you hear the tagline, and it's like,
it's a cruise, but in space.
Right.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was better than I was expecting it to be. Mm-hmm. It's one of those that I think is going to reward more plays too.
Yes.
A lot. Like if you can't be one of the type, like if you we know how to play this. Mm-hmm. If we brought this to a game night and started playing it, you're going to wipe the floor with anybody that you're teaching it with.
That is true.
Which is the case of a lot of Euros.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot these multi-step building on each other mechanisms and
the
stuff.
Little nuances that you're going to know of like you can stretch out your money that people might just completely be tapped out, things like that.
If I had one complaint, and this is not a complaint about this, it's this style of game, I guess I should say, that I don't think there's a big catch-up to this game. Like if somebody jumps out, you're not going to catch up. Because you started off with the shipbuilding, and I was like, I'm going to try something a little different. But then after I saw how much you gained from flying a ship, I was like, okay, I need to do that. I went towards the developments.
Yes.
But then I was like, okay, well, that's 30 points if I can get to that. But then you just went and did it too, so then it was a wash.
Yeah.
So it's like there was nothing I could do to catch up, even if I was trying to catch up.
Yeah.
So you really have to make your moves early and stay closer. And that may be different with 3-4 player games.
Right.
Stuff may change out too.
Yeah, this one, I agree. I think, the theme of the game is pretty much everything that you are building towards. Mm-hmm. This is not one of those Euros where it's like, oh, I'm going to pick this avenue for a bunch of points, and I'm going to pick this avenue for a bunch of points. Kind of like your point salad games. It's not necessarily that. It's you are doing actions and stuff to be able to get more ships, more segments into your ships to then launch them to go on the cruise. And if someone is doing that more than others, because not only is the game centered around launching them, because that's how the game ends, for the most part. I mean, you have the company goals, but it's like that only opens up wings for a multiplier, but really you need cubes out, and you get cubes out by launching ships. So if someone is doing that more than others, and they get the cockpit bonus triggered a lot, not only is that in-game points, but that's also going to be end-game points that you will just kind of run away with it. And there's not really a whole lot that someone else is going to be able to do to catch up.
Yeah, and I, like I said, I haven't played a Lacerda game, but this is what I hear about them a lot. Is like what we were talking before we start playing this about Kanban and stuff like that. It's like if you screw up early and get behind, you're not catching up.
Exactly.
Like this one, you jumped out to a lead after a few rounds.
Yeah.
I did get kind of caught up when it was 30-31, and then your ship you just blasted me.
There was a
You
moment.
almost slapped me.
Yeah, there was a moment in this particular game that, like, I was able to completely seal up a annual general meeting, which is kind of a end game victory, or not, end of round victory point kind of thing, where it's based off these progress goals and then multiplying your wings, which again, I really, really like these public goals to increase your multiplier. Mechanically, I actually have virtually no complaints about it, but if someone's able to completely sweep a section, then it's like, well, that's a ton of points that you got that I'm not going to get, and it just compounds from there. But I mean, in terms of how the actual what's interesting about this and why I'm liking it so much, and I brought this up to you, whenever we were first learning the game, was I was able to just teach you the rules. Like, hey, on your turn you place a worker. Here are the 6 actions, or virtually 12 actions, 6 action spots you can go to, and I was able to just fluidly explain it. In Lacerda games that I've had to teach in the past, it's so overwhelming because it's like, okay, well, what you do on your turn is actually easy. All you do is place a worker. But to place a worker, you need to understand 14 things before you can even begin to do the main thing you do on your turn. So then when you're teaching, it's like, I'd like to go here. You actually can't, because you need a token from over there. But to get that token, you need to flip a card. It's like, it's too much. And the last Lacerda game that I played was just like, this is complex for the sake of being complex, and I'm just not enjoying it. And it's all about efficiency. So if you're not as efficient as someone else, you're not going to do well. But this one just felt intuitive, I think. It didn't feel mean, because there's nothing in here that's like, oh, I got there before you, so haha, suck it.
Right.
Because they have the worker bumping, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'll just go, I'll go there, and yeah, I'll bump you, and you'll get a funding bonus, and depending on which bonuses you chose, like, you could have chosen the one that every time you recall people, you can get 2 points for each one of them. You can do the one where you're getting resources, you can do the one where you're getting ads, and all of that stuff matters, but it's not overwhelming. You have 3 resources you have to manage, and it's like, I don't know. The entire time we've been playing, there wasn't ever really a time where I was like, how do I get more money? How do I get resources? Like, I guess I'll do that and get 1 resource,
The last 2 rounds of the game, I kind of had that feeling a little bit, because there wasn't anything, I mean, it did not matter.
You were trying to get points.
Right, and there was nothing I could really do.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, the only thing
so
is, because trying to get victory points is centered around launching, and so if it's like, if you're trying to squeak out some points here and there, there's not really a way to do that all that much, not in any significant way, because again, everything you're doing, you have the different guests that you are trying to, book cruises for. So that's a great way to get money as well as reputation. But then the reputation track, which is awesome, allows you to, lose as much as you want, to be like, I need a shit ton of resources now, and I skipped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to get 6 resources. But all of that is money, ads, or resources. None of it is victory points. I mean, unless you're gaining a bunch of reputation, and then once you're past 18, it's a point. But throughout the game, you're not really dinking. You're like dinking in piddly points every now and then. That really isn't going to make a difference by the end of the game. So, getting getting guests to go on your ship that has shit that they want to do, on top of the fact that you're just going to get resources and whatever they're going to provide you, on top of having them visit the destination that you want based off what, that's where a lot of the points can come in, where you can go all in on one type of guest and be like, oh, I have, 5 guests. I played this card to let me put more guests on. I have 5 adventurous guests on my ship. So that's 5 ads, and I have, I have 3 plus 2, so I have 5 points for each guest. So that's that's 25 points. That's where the big swings are coming in. But again, I think it just depends on what type of Euro you like. Do you like point salad Euros where everything you do you're getting 60 points? Barcelona, where it's like I think I'll just go there. Oh, that's 80 points.
Right.
Where to me, whenever it's that point salad-y, I'm like, okay, these are big numbers just for the sake of being like, ooh, big numbers. Where it's like, just remove the 0, and make it a lot more manageable. Where it's like, my final score was 812. It's like, whatever. Just it's like, that's so stupid, but it feels good. Or do you want the Euros where you're building and building for the major thing that the game is wanting you to do? I think it's kind of to each their own.
Right.
And in this case, I like both. I like both types, but this one, for some reason, it just felt good to see all the steps, line up into place to be able to, launch the ship and reap the rewards of all that planning.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the actual action selection stuff, like with the developments and the networking part?
I like that part. That was probably my favorite part of the deal, was getting that stuff down and being able to, because at the end of the deal, I think I had one in every middling part, so I wasn't gonna have to pay for anything.
Yes.
And stuff.
But even then, nothing blocks you. Like, if I
right.
have the money, I can just I can pay to use that tech that you have, or I can pay to use the network.
And to be able to you're doing 2 actions, so you could do something where you place your person and then you have access to your adjacent ones.
That is a really, really nice element. It is cool, because it's like, most worker placements is you just do the spot that you went to, but it's like, nope, just do 2 actions. You can do the same action twice. You can do 1 top, 1 bottom, or like you said, if you're here, you can do 1 up there and 1 over there.
Is this board static for the number of players? Or you said there's different actions to go out here, but
yes,
is there just 6 locations though for 4 players?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So there'd be a lot of bumping and stuff with the 4 players.
Yeah, exactly, and probably a lot more paying to use resources. Or like you get your developments out, and that's going to allow you to not have to go where someone else is at.
Right.
No, the other side is like the empty one. Okay. Where a bunch of different actions are random, and then you also have random technologies that are out. So the variety in this game, and again, mind you, this is just the retail game, is insane. Like, the different ships, like the cockpit and the engine, is going to have different scoring objectives on top of different bonuses that you get for just taking them. And everything just feels like it's not overwhelming, but it's also not restrictive. Like, you can have 3 ships with 3 segments in them, generally, unless you choose to get the upgrade that lets you have 4 ships with 4 upgrades. But you don't really have to. It's not like they got 3 ships out, I guess I'm not going to win. If you have an efficient way of actually getting multiple ships to launch multiple times, then that works out extremely well.
Right.
Because there was a time towards the end of this last game we played where I finally got all my expert workers, and I was like, oh, man, okay, is there any way that I can get this built and add segments to it and launch it before the game ends? Short answer was no. There wasn't really a way at that point. So that's awesome. The techs are awesome. The different ways that you can have different combinations of actions is awesome. The only thing I found that was kind of lacking was, funny enough, the actual launching part, where you're just kind of having a person go here, and it's like, okay, I'll just get 2 I got 2 icons. I got 1 person there, so that's 3 points. The bonuses that the guests gave you just never really felt like they were resource, money, point.
That was another interesting thing with the worker placement stuff was the actual launch deal because, for I can't remember what my first one was. I think it was only like 2.
Yeah.
So like you're only going to be without that worker for a couple of rounds.
Right.
If you do like the 4 or 5 fuel ones, you're going to be without that worker for several rounds.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of benefit.
Yeah, and I guess it is that would be a nuance that some people might not know is like, okay, what if you sent all your workers like on cruises, then they're tied up doing that it's like, okay, I guess I'm just not doing anything on my turn until they come back. So some people might do that and then be out of commission for a while.
Can your expert ones fly on the ship? Okay.
Yeah, the expert ones really are literally the exact same as the workers, except they have a unique bonus, which I also think is cool because there's different types of expert bonuses for them. And I think that's also kind of neat in that you can either pay out the ass to get an extra worker immediately,
right,
or try and build up to make them a little bit cheaper. But it's like, if you wait too long, then they might be, they might not be getting that, that much use out of them. Yeah, it just, I mean, the teach was a lot, but like the way I learned the game was watching Paul Grogan's How to Play. I did not even read this rule book, and I was like, oh, got it. It just made sense.
Right. And
for a game like this, for a game as big as this, to actually have the what's the word? Like the, I guess, intuitiveness of it just is amazing. And then whenever you are referencing, because this is a thick rulebook. Now, granted, like it has like expansions in it, which I don't have, because they have advancements and they have accommodations, and then they do like a full example of Rachel, which is the solo person.
I was wondering what the solo was like, if it was.
And then there's the 2-player rules, but then everything else is just this rule book. While it's big, is immaculate. And I don't know who these fucking designers are. I think it's if it's first time designer, that is.
I want to say it's the first stuff. I think
it's amazing. Like they have, it's color coded to where it's like here's designer tips, here's just theme, here's.
It's like the designers are gamers.
Yeah,
and they're like, this is what it should. This is what we want to roll.
Like they've played these types of games a shit ton, and they're like, okay, here's what we're not gonna do.
Right.
Because even the retail version has this gorgeous production. Like it starts out with this welcome pack that you open up, and I was like, this is gonna be that Kickstarter. Oh, thank you so much for making my dream come true. And it's like whatever, you throw it away. But you open it up and you get this badass lanyard. Then, the thank you for making my dream come true letter. But then this pamphlet, and I was like, this is like a welcome pack to going on a cruise. I don't actually know that because I will never go on a cruise in my life. I would kill myself. It's like, hey, we're going on a cruise, I'm forcing you. It's like, force my corpse. But then you open it up, and it's actually just it shows you how to organize the game. And it's so, again, intuitive. It works, and they even made it to where this book, the company records that explain what tokens do, and even the theme for your structures, like a fun little thing on what they are. But they even have a spot that's like, oh, this is reserved to be intentionally left blank for future expansion. So they didn't do that bullshit thing that a lot of companies do with game trays. That's like, oh man, this is amazing, and the expansion doesn't fit.
Right.
Thanks for basically wasting a shit ton of fucking plastic. I mean, I'm honestly just blown away by how right they did everything, and how wrong companies still still get it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, at its core, it's a simple worker placement spot that doesn't really like have any type of butthurtness to it. It's like, oh man, they got that tech before me. I guess I can't use it. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just pay you, 2 money, or if I have high reputation, potentially 0 money just to use your tech or use your network. There is one element of this game though that I think that might rub people the wrong way, and I think I benefited from it the most in this game we just played, and that's the cards.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. They're all amazing. And their multi-use of the freedom of being able to discard them for the resources that you might need is great. However, there are some that it's like, that is an amazing combination to just be able to use. And then I don't know how I feel in the standard board, which is all we've played on, is being able to take cards and then recycle and get all the benefit. Which I think recycling and getting the blank or the benefit for it is awesome. But going there and being like, okay, I guess I'll take 2 and then refresh and just get, potentially all 4 of those, I mean, is good, but I guess then you're leaving it to your opponent can just grab them. But what do you think of the cards?
Oh, they were good. I mean, I think I used 3 of them for the ability.
Yeah.
And then the other one, all the rest of them, I just used for the
resources or for the
for doing that thing,
for filling up the company stuff.
Yeah.
I use most of them for their abilities, which is awesome. Like, I know I had one element where it's like, I'm gonna go over there, grab 2 cards, and then one of the cards I got let me use my second action to actually launch with the worker that I just used. So they're amazing. But I guess to counteract my own criticism is, if I play a really good card, then you can go to that same spot and pay a rep to just pop it off the top of the deck,
Right.
or top of the discard pile. So
Which we never did.
no, I mean, there was a point whenever I played a card that let me draw the top 4 and keep one. That was the one that let me max out 2 of my resources. But I got to discard them in any order. I thought about, like, because there were 2 that were really good, where it's like, you can just pay money instead of resources when launching a ship. I was like, man, I kind of want both of these, so do I just put that one on top and then go back and then, pay the rep to get it into my hand?
Right.
Just a lot of really subtle, really subtle things that are just quality of life upgrades, things that wouldn't be done in other worker placement styles. Yeah, I'm actually kind of blown away, honestly. Because in terms of how the game actually plays, we've seen it before. It's not like everything in this game is unique. Like, this is in a genre of heavier Euros that you just you can only do so much innovation.
Right.
But it's kind of like, it's the quality of life upgrades that just make this more of a joy to play. So, yeah, I love it. I think it's fantastic. You have anything else you want to bring up?
I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
I'd just be interested to know what the solo runs, or how it runs, if it's a beat your own score kind of thing, or if there's a bunch of AI.
No, because there's an AI deck of actions that they do. And then, let's see. Yeah, no, they have a worker. And, so, I mean, it's probably complex in how the solo actually runs, but you set up for a 2-player game.
Interesting.
And the 2-player game is actually not awful, because it has kind of a dummy player, but really all it does is it blocks a spot, in the sense that if I go to a spot with the third dummy player, then they just rotate around the board, and if it hits your opponent's worker, your opponent gets bumped. I actually kind of like that element, that spatial awareness, where it's like, man, I really want to go there, but I don't want to bump you by making them, go around and bump. And then they just potentially make things cost more.
Right.
Until you start getting your own developments out. So yeah. And I think it lessens the amount of crews available, because these ones with the stars are always out. The ones that you have. Oh, I actually think Right. But those are always out, and that's just kind of the kickstart it. But yeah, there's a ton of blueprints, and in fact, there's actually supposed to be another expansion, I think, that adds even more blueprints or accommodations or something. So yeah, I'll have to see if I can find those. I don't know if they sell them on their store, like individually, or if they're going back on crowdfunding for more.
They're pretty quick, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the turnaround
it's
time
going to be for another expansion and a reprint, so they'll have all the stuff on there.
Awesome. Well, I think I'll just need the expansions. I cannot think of any cosmetic upgrades, component upgrades that I would even need.
I didn't follow the first campaign to know if there was any. I don't think there was any exclusives to this, because we were kind of looking at. I think it was just an expansion that.
Yeah, because there's these foam which they even say if you don't have the expansions, just use these foam things as placeholders, which is again awesome. But I think there's more guest goals, because right now there's rep and then ads, so it kind of mixes up the different types. But I don't think it adds like more guests or anything. There wasn't really anything in here that I was like, that I felt like I was missing.
Right.
I don't know if it adds more cards. More cards I would enjoy. I really, really like the card system, but I think it's just, it actually tells me in the back. So, advancements, several modules. Oh, it's module cabin matching. So 48 blueprints, which will replace the ones included in the base game. Instead of having half cabins in the middle of each segment, these blueprints have half cabins in one of three spaces, left, center, or right. So it actually makes you want to. So instead of they just naturally match, you actually have to match specific segments. There are advanced technologies, so upgradable versions of the technology tiles from the base game. Each technology now has a technology track along the top that determines the level of its ability. It's pretty neat. Location bonus tokens. Randomly place a single location bonus token on each of the 6 locations during the game. If there are 3 developments adjacent, the location bonus flips to active, so it makes different locations have special powers. And then new agenda cards, new upgrade tokens, cockpit and engine, expert workers, 2 new expert worker tiles. So just a little bit more. And then accommodations add specialized blueprints. And then starting upgrade cards. So I think that's one of the cooler ones, is that before placing your worker, choose one of your starting upgrade cards to activate, so it kind of kickstarts you into something that you're able. So almost like a prelude expansion, which all these games just almost have to have at this point. And then more agenda cards, upgrade tokens, expert worker tiles, and tech tiles. Well, I'll have to keep an eye out for those. So yeah. It's awesome, because like I said, these types of games, I've just been like, if I like it, I'm like, yeah, that was good. I don't really have a desire to play it again. But this one, I would want to play again. It's like, ooh, I want to see, how the different, and the texts that come out, the different combinations. Yeah, you're still relatively doing the same thing of launching cruise ships, but everything else about the game is going to be different.
Great.
You got anything else?
I don't think so.
I know I talked for a majority of this. You're just like, dude, I fucking hated this game.
I don't know. I didn't hate it at all.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving Galactic Cruise?
All right, so I don't know if I would buy it. and not because of the game being bad. I just don't know if I would ever get it played with anybody other myself.
Yep, right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think this is over Amy's head.
His wife is really dumb. She's only she's only a pharmacist.
But I think like the rules teach, she'd be glossy eyed in 5 seconds. You know,
it's so fascinating with board games. Like I've tried. One of my coworkers, I've been teaching games, and he's insanely smart too. Mm-hmm. But it's like for some reason, just rules are just just no idea.
But if I'm just going off of our gameplay of this and everything, I would probably land at an 8.
Okay.
Which is, it...
Still very good.
Yeah, very good. It was a great game. It's just one of those things that definitely is going to reward play.
Yep.
And stuff like that. And, it's just one I don't know if I'll pick up, but it's still just excellent if you're into that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm in the same boat kind of as you with Ariana. It's like she would do... It would basically be kind of like almost like a handhold kind of first game.
Yeah, because you destroy her if just because you
wouldn't hold back.
Just knowing what we've learned in
right.
our plays of this is like, okay, I'm just gonna go build a bunch of ships and go. That's where it's at.
Right, but I've learned with like other games, obviously not as heavy, but like Zolkin, for example, that I taught her, not her never having played like a Euro game, like she did pretty good like the first game, and then like the next couple games she actually won with the like one of the games that we played with the expansions. So it's just it's always hard because I mean clearly I have a shit ton of games and I'm always trying to play new ones to just have content and availability or options for our end of year list. So it's almost like this won't hit the table all that much unless I make it a point. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's like I wanted to hit the table a lot more, but yeah, it's difficult whenever you have things to play. And this isn't the quickest setup in the world. It's not the longest. I mean, they did a lot of stuff that makes it easier because the dildo player holders. Yeah. And then the blueprint holder, so it's actually not the most egregious setup. But then there's the teach.
Well, the gameplay took a while. It took us 2.5 hours.
This game 2.5, maybe 3
hours. But I mean, we were still picking up the mechanics and
right.
stuff. But it's a long game. I mean, that's what I'd always heard before we played it, that it's a fairly long game.
It's kind of one of those games that almost feels like it's slow at the beginning because you're setting everything up, and then it kind of quickly ramps up, and then the game kind of ends. But yeah, so it is interesting that I'm keeping it in my collection because I really did enjoy every system around it. But yeah, you would have to kind of keep playing it and almost make it a point to set up to play, and then it just becomes that much better.
One other thing I want to say before you give your score is this is also a big thing.
Oh, the player aid?
Yeah, like usually it's just like some games don't even put it in.
That's true.
But other ones that put you a player, but this one has like, what is it? It's 7 pages in the back, 8 pages. Mm-hmm. But it goes into detail, every action space, how you get points. It says, how do I score points?
Yeah, we should have looked at that.
How do I get this? It's like all the steps of launching a ship, all of what the upgrades do. I mean, so this is like a very, very detailed player aid.
Yeah, and what's interesting is it's actually not like the turn structure is good enough. Mm-hmm. But yeah, kind of like what you were saying, like we've been saying this entire review, is the launching a ship, and it's all right here on exactly what you do when you're placing out upgrades, what each upgrade does, which the upgrades I think are really cool. But what the cockpit scoring does, what the company goals mean, but what's something that a lot of companies don't do is okay, like you were asking this game, okay, where can I get points to try and catch up? Well, they have a spot in this player aid on how to score points. How do I get ads? Literally, just they did almost everything in their power to ease you into a heavier Euro, which is why I think this trumps a lot of other types of Euros, where it's just like, just remember, like, hopefully you remember how to do that, because there's really, I mean, or just here you go.
Right.
It's almost like they took a sample out of the Hegemony playbook, because that company kills it on player aids too, where every time I've taught Hegemony, it's like, so what do I do? Look at your player aid. It's all going to be right there, because that is pulled straight from the rulebook. So you don't have to constantly ask questions. You don't have to interrupt someone else's turn. You can look at this and be like, what am I trying to do? Okay, what does that mean over there? Found it. So now when it does come around to your turn, you can already go ahead and start playing instead of drawing out this game even longer. Because I don't think that this game, while it's a long game, it didn't feel like a long game.
Right.
Which is a very huge distinction.
Which a 2-player game makes it feel. I would wonder what a 4-player game of this, how long the turns would take. Like,
the major difference for that is
you have to wait longer.
Which again, a lot of stuff can be just
a Euro thing. I mean,
yeah, a lot of stuff can be simultaneous because I'm gonna bump you, cool. I'm just gonna do my own funding. You don't have to wait for me. But the biggest difference is based off player count. Like, let's say it's a 4-player game. This is the second.
Right, you'd have
so you have more spaces for cubes. But other than that, it essentially stays the same. I'm giving this a 9. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Like, all the gameplay wise, I'd probably agree with you on an 8, but it's that extra step of the player aid, the rule book being sexy. Hell, even in the player aid, where it's like, okay, so what does that mean in T-5 spot? Oh, it tells me what page it is in the rule book. And when we did have to look up a specific thing, it was like, oh, got it.
Yeah, it's attention to detail on that stuff.
Yeah. And so the game wasn't like fluid, where you just had all the resources you want at any given time, and I can do anything I want at any given point. Those types of Euros I really don't like, where it's like that's how Unconscious Mind was, where I just had anything at any given point, so I never had to struggle. Here, I don't have to struggle. It's not like I'm sitting here like, feeding my people is, I just can't. That's my whole game. I just have to. It takes my whole game to get one food. It's not that tight. I've played games where its resources are just like, ugh. So they just really knew how to design a fucking heavier Euro. So, and then the player insert is amazing. So yeah, it's getting a 9. On multiple playthroughs, I think this game could hit that 10. It just depends, like we said, on how often this is ever going to hit the table.
Yep.
So, that's it. That's all we got. That's our thoughts on Galactic Cruise. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.